Hello, and thanks for attending the News Tribune's What's Your Wish event, where we have three of Tacoma and Pierce County's top leaders here today to talk about their goals and visions for 2021. I'm Stephanie Pedersen, the News Tribune's president and editor, and with us today we have Tacoma Mayor Victoria Woodards, Tacoma Superintendent Carla Santorno, and Pierce County Executive Bruce Danmeyer. We're breaking today's event into three segments. For the first 30 minutes, we'll have 10-minute conversations individually with the mayor, superintendent, and executive. For the second segment, we'll bring our leaders together for a community-wide discussion. And then the last segment we'll spend asking them the questions readers have submitted. Since we have received dozens of excellent questions from our subscribers, I'll do my best to incorporate the specific ones into our individual Q&As. Before we jump in, a sincere thank you for subscribing and supporting your local newspaper. The News Tribune is a vital organ in this community, and we hope to bring you more events like this throughout the year. With that said, it's my pleasure to introduce Mayor Victoria Woodards. Woodards is called the City of Destiny her home for nearly her entire life. She is a proud graduate of Tacoma's Lincoln High School and served as a soldier in the United States Army. Before becoming mayor in 2018, she served for 7 years as an at-large member of the City Council. In Mayor Woodards' first term, she's expanding her involvement in regional and national conversations on affordable housing, transportation, strengthening youth and families, public safety, growing local business, and the creation of family wage jobs. Thanks for being here, Mayor.
Thank you, Stephanie. It's an honor to join you today.
I've asked all of our guests to spend the first few minutes of this conversation talking about their vision and their goals for 2021. So with that in mind, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Stephanie. Again, it really is an honor to be here, and I am so grateful for the News Tribune for putting this forum together, hearing from the three leaders in this community to talk about our goals. And so grateful for your partnership and the way that you all are working in our community. So I just want to start, when we look back a year ago at this time, how much we've learned and how much has changed. We have been reminded that we cannot plan for everything. Unexpected, complex, and sometimes very difficult things will come our way, and we must be agile, innovative, and willing to transform. 2020 presented a host of challenges and showed us how much work we've done, but still how much work we need to do as a city, a county, a state, and a country. But 2020 has also demonstrated our great strength. We are compassionate Tacoma, and people in Tacoma have demonstrated again and again that they are resilient and caring, and our community will come together in the face of difficulty to help one another, find solutions, and advocate for the things they believe in. Placing emphasis on compassionate community have been important for taking care of one another as we go through this pandemic. But those qualities are also important to the vitality of our existing businesses and entrepreneurship. One example is an entrepreneur and undercover billionaire star, Monique Idolette Mosesley, who recently filmed a show in Tacoma showing her creating a business after beginning with only $100, a truck, and a cell phone. When speaking of her success in standing up a business on Undercover Billionaire, she said, "I don't think I could have accomplished starting and finishing in any other city. I believe that because I started during COVID and ended during COVID, that you are truly relying on the community that you have been put into. Tacoma is kind and strong and just super community driven, and it is truly amazing." Well, I think that speaks about our community and how not only what we did in 2020, but how we will move forward. And in 2021, I will be focusing on fulfilling the wishes for a community that is healthy, safety, our well-being, and that we can get through all of these issues through a number of initiatives. And I'll just include a few. First of all, I'll start with supporting Heal the Heart of Tacoma, as outlined in resolution passed by the City Council. In 2020, I and the community are leading this process for a multi-sector initiative that aims at moving us toward becoming an anti-racist Tacoma. Using private funding through my participation with Mayors for a Guaranteed Income, we are partnering with United Way and other community service organizations to pilot innovative ways to address family poverty. With Executive Danmeyer, who will join us today, the Puyallup Tribe, and mayors across Pierce County, we are formalizing a coalition known as South Sound Housing Affordability Partners, or SHAPE, to ensure that there is affordable and attainable housing in Pierce County. To continue focusing on addressing homelessness, especially as cold weather and COVID-19 virus increases the risks of our unhoused neighbors. We do not want to see the suffer and loss of any additional life while our capacity, to provide shelter during inclement weather is reduced due to the necessary social distancing requirements of COVID. Supporting businesses is very much a priority of mine. And like many of our residents, the health of our businesses and the important jobs they provide have been put at risk. But we must continue to innovate, identify resources, and advocate for policies at the county, state, and federal levels to support the businesses and the important economic vitality of jobs and the character they add to our city. And last but not least, I want to make sure that we're supporting our partners at the county level on the distribution of the COVID-19 vaccines that will allow us to reopen the economy and get back to hugging our family and friends, as well as being able to provide opportunities for our family and take care of ourselves. And we must do all this work. The work will have to be done, but how we do it is important. And we must continue this work with compassion and in collaboration with one another, both with members of our community as well as partners across all sectors, if we really want to be successful. These are just some of the initiatives that I plan to work on during the new year. And overall, my personal wish for 2021, just my personal wish, is that I could hug everyone I see. But more seriously, simply stated, my wish for Tacoma, as corny as it may sound and as often as I say it, is that every person who chooses to call this place home has the ability to live out their destiny, and that everyone has to define what that means to them. But my job is to set up Tacoma to be a place where it can happen. No matter what happens and what lies ahead in 2021, no matter what unforeseen things lie ahead, I hope we can continue to be compassionate, resilient, connected, and the innovative city that we are. When we work in that spirit together, we can find opportunity in whatever circumstances we face.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll jump into some questions here.
Great.
Some of them are from readers and some of them are from me in our newsroom. So jump in. Homelessness and how we treat and serve those less fortunate in our community was an overwhelming theme in our submitted questions. And rightfully so. We've had a number of homeless people die in our community recently. What is the city doing to address these concerns? And are there any other properties we're looking at to expand our reach?
Yeah, the city is doing a lot, but I will tell you that even in a lot, it's not enough. So let's start with, we invest $24 million into external service contracts in our city through our NCS, our Neighborhood and Community Services Department. Of that $24 million, 58% of that is being spent on homeless services. Since November, we've added 195 shelter beds. Because of COVID and everyone having to socially distance, we've had to add shelter beds this year. So we've added 195 beds this year. We've also have 3 temporary emergency shelter sites, the Stability site on Portland, and 2 Tacoma emergency micro shelter sites, one on the east side and one on 6th and Orchard. And these sites provide more than 150 people, provide 150 opportunities to shelter people in our community. We've opened in partnership with Metro Parks, we've opened up a warming center, both at the East Side Community Center and North Point. And in partnership with the Salvation Army, we just have opened another warming center to serve up to 35 single adult men. So we're doing a lot, but I think the basis of all of this is to make sure that we are focused on housing. And that's why I'm a part of SHAPE and why we're trying to find other opportunities to provide housing. Because really, if we're going to solve this issue of homelessness, we've got to make sure that there are places for everyone to live. So these are the investments that we've made. We're also focusing on We're also focusing on keeping people out of becoming homeless, so saving people from becoming homeless. During the pandemic, we put out $1.2 million in rental assistance. And we just received notice last week that through the new federal government program, we are going to get $6.5 million to provide rental assistance. So we will be partnering with the county executive and Pierce County to implement those dollars as well to get those out to our residents.
That's great news. When we have all of you together, I'm going to ask you more about SHAPE so that we can dig into a little bit more. Let's move on to the Emanuel Ellis case. It's been a topic of discussion for Tacoma and the greater community, most recently making headlines in December about the 5th police officer involved. I know that there's not a lot you're allowed to say because of the investigation, but we have to ask, why are we still learning these details? When did we learn about the 5th officer?
Yeah.
And do you have any intel on when the Attorney General's decision will be announced?
So I'll start with the last question first. I don't know at this point when the Attorney General's announcement will come out. I will tell you this. I know people think that we should know more, we should have more information, but I learned about the 5th police officer when the newspaper called and asked us about a comment on the 5th police officer. And I think in some instances, I understand that's frustrating for community. It's frustrating for me, but it also shows that this really is an independent investigation, that the agency that's being investigated, being the city of Tacoma and our police department, is not getting any additional information or any information outside of what the public is getting. And so as frustrating as it is, I understand it. As you well know, we're coming up almost on a year, and I can't imagine how the family is feeling with it taking this long. Obviously, the case went to Pierce County, and in June, we asked the governor to take it up and do an independent investigation at the state level. So then it went to the state level. So we hope to hear soon of the outcome so that we can begin to move forward and begin to heal and talk about what will be different. I will be clear that the number one priority for the city of Tacoma in this cycle of our state legislature is standing up an independent investigations office at the state level so that things don't have to start at a local level and end up at the state level. We can start with an independent body at the state level to intervene when there are use of force cases that are connected to I-940, so that independent investigative office can be stood up and we know exactly where the case is going. And hopefully by doing that, it won't take this long.
Gotcha. Thank you. Well, one more question, and I'll move on to the superintendent. Obviously, since Ellis news in December, we've had more unfortunate news in Tacoma regarding officer use of force. How does Tacoma rebuild trust with the community after an event like what happened 2 weeks ago?
It's not going to be easy, Stephanie, and community, it's not going to be easy, and we don't expect that it will be easy. We have to wait out the full investigation in order to take action. So we'll await that investigation. There was a report that just came out today, and I'm really appreciative of Pierce County FIT, which is the 4th investigation team that has been formed. There's a detailed report that just came out today that outlines what they've done so far and what they'll be focusing on in the upcoming weeks as they investigate the incident. But I think what we're doing in transformation through Heal the Heart is the way that we rebuild community trust. I think that's one way. We've also done things like implemented 8 Can't Wait. And you saw last week, our report came out from 21st Century Policing about the work we need to do internally. So I think laying out all the work that needs to be done, engaging our community in the work is a way to rebuild trust. And so I think that's where our focus is now. We're going to continue to transform not just our police department, because let's be clear, transforming our police department and having a really great criminal justice system is one thing, but transforming all the systems that allow people to end up in the criminal justice system is another thing. And if we really want to keep people out of the criminal justice system, then we've got to look at education and economics small businesses, and health, and all of the other things that cause people to end up in some of these situations that they end up in. So that's where we're focused. I think that's going to be a way to build trust. And I want to be clear that the Heal the Heart and all the transformation teams that will stand up are being community led. They're not led by the city, they're led by community members. And I think that's another way you build trust, is that you allow our community to tell us what needs to change and be a part of the change that they want to see.
Thank you, Mayor Woodards. And I appreciate the conversation. We'll see you again in about 20 minutes. Next, we have Superintendent of Tacoma Schools, Carla Santorno. Santorno, a national award-winning superintendent, has led an academic improvement effort that has increased the Tacoma Public Schools graduation rate to 89.8% for the class of 2019. That's up from 55% when she joined the district in 2009 as deputy superintendent. AASA, the School Superintendents Association, named Carla the winner of its national 2016 Women in School Leadership Award. Thanks for being here, Superintendent.
Good to be here. Thank you.
We'll follow the same outline as Mayor Woodards' conversation, so it's your turn to talk about your 2021 goals for the school district.
Great. 2021, we want to see students in school face-to-face with their teachers, and and safely. That's the main thing. So that goal of, we have learned a lot. All of you have been a part of a learning session as we've learned to navigate through remote learning and different configurations. And we are appreciative to parents and students and community and partners that have come together with us to make this a reality. And it's, it's been rough going, but we really are excited about what our teachers have done and what everyone has done. So my vision for 2021, it incorporates some of the things that we've had as goals before, and then also added a few other things. So number one is that we do have students in school. Now we know that I'm following guidance from the health department and from our and from our state superintendent. And so lots of times people will come up to me and say, exactly what's school going to look like in the fall? And the bottom line is I can't answer that because we want to make sure that we follow the guidance and that we make sure that but our goal definitely is to have students in school in one-on-one instruction and that they'll be safe according to the guidelines that we're given. Just as important is some of the things that the mayor talked about. And I think it's important to know that we're in partnership and that we talk about and act on and hold each other accountable for the goals that we have about equity. And equity to me in our organization means that our students come to school with full access, full opportunity, and the full ability to make the best of what they have so that they can make good choices when they leave school. So even before some of the racial unrest, we had in Tacoma Public Schools started an endeavor to make sure that every one of our teachers had the full exposure to professional development that talks about being a culturally responsive teacher and building a culturally responsive environment. We know that students can't learn as much as they should learn unless they are respected and held in high esteem, and that everybody has a high expectation about what they can do. So we are really taking another look at that. I have an incredible design team made up of a lot of different staff that are really invested in coming up with some modules and that allow teachers to get information, to self-reflect, to plot their own action. And it's being led by every one of our principals and our department heads. And my goal for all of that is that not that the teachers who are already culturally competent get better, even though that will happen, but also that every one of us have a common vocabulary and a common desire to make a difference for all of our students, that they really can do the best they can because of the equity in the system. And what that also goes for is just choices. We know that we need to have lots of different choices. Tacoma, I think, is still the only school district in the state that's been designated as a district of innovation. And so we know that in order for us to meet the needs of students, we've got to have an array of choices for them to do. I am excited that some of our students have still had an opportunity to pursue different fields. We've had Stephen, the student at Titusville that got the first automotive apprenticeship and certification in the state. And so we're real proud of that. And we've had others that have gotten Microsoft certifications. And the important part about that is being able to pursue your dream and find out what you're good at and what you like, and then follow that. And so we know that we need to up the number of internships that we have. Mayor Woodards has been just incredible about sponsoring and staying firm with expanding our 253 effort, which allows our students to get into the city and get a job and learn those soft skills and go along with those hard skills to get to get a good education about what the businesses are in our city and what that looks like. And I think it goes a long way toward helping them really have that two things. One, committed to the fact that there's great jobs in Tacoma, and secondly, that there's an array of different things that they can do. Go along with that same endeavor is my vision for 2021 is that we increase the amount of student voice that we use. We make too many decisions as adults that are about kids and over kids and for kids, but don't involve our students. And so we really need to take a really good look at what are some different avenues that we can get students at the table. And definitely Mayor has led the way with her youth commission that have been strong and mighty and have come in. And so I really want to get an avenue for our students to have more input. Our board last year did an innovative first time listening tour around the whole city with students, and they got some really insightful things. And I think that as our students come back to school, that they're going to be impacted by the time they've spent in a totally different situation. And so we really need to be listening to them. My guess is that we're going to need some more services to help students deal with the trauma of simply being away from their cohorts for a long time. So we want to make sure that we take care of that. We are now a one-to-one technology district, and we had not made, that was not in our goal. If you'd asked me about goals before 2020, I wouldn't have said that it was about having a computer for every student, but we have it now. And so now we see the power of being able to have students online and doing asynchronous work on their own. It has been marvelous. Our teachers have been creative and innovative and have done some unbelievable things. And so I know we want to continue that. And so another thing we want to work with our city about and our partners about, we've had great support from the Foundation for Tacoma students, but we've got to raise the stableness of the internet and access to the internet for our students, because we're going to continue to use that avenue, that home computer assignments and an ability to get instruction from that venue. We're going to continue to want to use that and get our students a better grip of all the different technology that is at their fingertips. And we're excited about that and know that we're going to need some partner support, to raise the stability of the internet that'll help them access that. One of the things that I think it makes Tacoma great, and I think Mayor Woodards talks about it, and Executive Danmeyer has been so amenable to looking at partnerships. The way we get things done in Tacoma and the way we meet the needs of students is because of the incredible partnerships that we have. This Saturday, there was a virtual celebration of Green Trike, our children's museum, and they are doing remarkable things. We just celebrated the start of a new daycare place at JBLM. And so our desire to really work with and to help and to empower our early learners has been possible because during COVID, of the daycare providers that came forward and really helped, and Green Trike was one of those, Metro Parks was one of those, the Y, we've had so many partners, I can't list them all, that have helped us during this crisis. And we know that that partnership means that we need to come together more and figure out what kind of supports we can give to kids and give to families as we go through this endeavor. Somebody's going to have to give me the axe when it's time for me.
I'll jump in. I'll jump in and ask a few questions now for us. The kids are trickling in, right? As far as in-person learning, do you see a chance that we'll get to 100% in-person learning this year, or are we really building towards the fall?
I believe that there is a chance toward 100% in-person learning. Now, again, I don't have a crystal ball, and so I know it depends on the numbers, and so I can't give a definite either way, but I believe that the science and the data collection that has gone along with, that has accompanied COVID-19, that shows that if we follow specific hardcore safety procedures and can get them in school, but we can bring more students in. And as we follow that, I believe that, that we're going to get there. We have plans right now. We've got kindergartners going to school full time. We've got a plan for our first kindergarten, first and second graders to be in school 4 days a week. We will follow with some part-time learning in school for third through fifth. We have a schedule that we've been talking about for our middle schoolers and high schoolers. We know that the social emotional stability and learning of our kids depends on having not just direct contact with that teacher, but direct contact with their friends. I was at Foss High School yesterday. We're bringing in small groups of high school students, especially ones that need stable internet, to come together and to do some asynchronous learning at school on Wednesdays, or some of them are coming every day of the week just to work with their teachers. And we see a difference. And I talk to them and I say, are we wasting our time here? Or is this making a difference in your learning? And they're very clear. It's making a difference in their learning. So yes.
We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm being told I have one more question, time for one more question before we move on, and we'll get you back later for a couple more. But, I said at the beginning of this that you've been a part of a significant turnaround in graduation rates for Tacoma schools. What are you seeing right now in terms of the pandemic's impact on our upcoming graduation class?
Last year when the pandemic struck in March, we still raised our graduation rate by 1/100th of a point this year. So we did not lose graduates. And if you look at what the premise of our graduation numbers are, is personalized service to kids, making sure we know what they need and that they get it. And so even in the pandemic, our teachers, our principals, our staff, our counselors, our family liaisons, they've made family visits. They've, called students, they've called aunties and brothers and employers and said, hey, tell us where John is, because we need him. He needs to finish this. And so that's what was going on at Foss yesterday. Was we were talking with students to, specifically about what they needed to finish, and to be ready to graduate. So I believe that if we stick to our focus, and that is help students personally and individually to meet their goals, that our graduation rate will continue to climb.
Thank you for your time, Superintendent. We'll see you back here for the community-wide conversation in about 10 minutes. Finally, I'm excited to introduce Pierce County Executive Bruce Danmeyer. A Pierce County native, Danmeyer attended Curtis High School and before going on to graduate with distinction from the U.S. Naval Academy, and served 8 years as a civil engineer corps officer. While on active duty, he was deployed on humanitarian relief missions in the United States and across the world. At the conclusion of his military service, he returned to Washington State and recently won re-election for a second term as county executive. Thanks for joining us. It's now your turn to talk. Tell us about your 2021 goals.
You bet. Thank you very much, Stephanie. I really appreciate you putting this on. This is a great opportunity, and I am honored to be on the same panel with Mayor Victoria Woodards and Superintendent Carla Santorno. They are incredible leaders for our community, so we are blessed to have them. As you pointed out, I was kind of born in Tacoma, grew up in University Place, went off and served in the Navy, came back, and now live in Puyallup. So I'm a Pierce County boy, born and bred, love this community more than words can say. So when I think about our community and the future, I dream and I wish big, which is part of why I want just the best for our community. But that's also why 2020 was difficult, because it was a very hard year for many people in our community. And that is why my specific wishes for 2021 and our goals and the things that we're going to be focusing on are a little more grounded. And I will talk first about the three things that are top priorities. These are what I say are my immediate goals for our community and for our county. First and foremost, it will come as no surprise, we've got to get the people in our community vaccinated. That is job one. That is the key to a healthy restart of everything going on in Pierce County. So that is job one. I was out at the mass vaccination site in Puyallup this morning. We're getting 3,000 people through there. This is the absolute top priority that we're focusing on. The second one, and here I'm going to echo what Superintendent Santorno talked about. Absolutely, second priority is getting kids back into school where they can safely learn. That learning is so important. As a former school board member, I can testify to that. It is so important for them academically, which is key to our future. It is important to them emotionally. It is important to them socially. And I don't think we can underestimate. If anything, this pandemic has given us an even deeper appreciation for the work that happens in our schools, the work that our teachers and those amazing building leaders are doing. And the third one is also very important. That is to get our community back to work. We have lost far too many jobs due to fighting this pandemic. Our unemployment rate is way too high. We got to give those people the opportunity to get back to work, to take control of their lives. This is particularly important because the fighting the recession that has been involved with this pandemic has fallen really unevenly. Some people have really done well by it, but many people, particularly the service industry, think of restaurants, think of the tourism industry, think of those, they've been just really hit hard. And many of those people, sorry, my energy efficient lights sometimes go off. Those folks have the least ability to weather that. So getting people back to work, getting new, more and better jobs in Pierce County is my third top priority for 2021. And I'm excited. We've got a lot of good news coming. We've had good news already from Amazon and Tesla. I was excited to see the new Safe Boat contract for the Mark 6 boats, which are built right down in the Port of Tacoma being awarded. That's a $20 million contract, could lead to a $600 million contract. And I think we're going to get a continual stream of more good economic news in Pierce County. And also the opportunity, people choose to live in Pierce County. We know that. And we want them to also have the opportunity to work in Pierce County. Teleworking will also help that. But there are also three other areas that aren't immediate goals, but they're really important challenges that we're facing that we have to lean into. And I can tell you the county is going to be leading in those. These are regional issues, so we're going to be stepping up to leadership, but we've got to all be in it together. And the first one, Mayor Woodards already talked about, and that is housing affordability. This is a big challenge for our community. It's a big concern that can make our community unlivable. So that's an absolute top priority. I'm looking forward to talking about the South Sound Housing Affordability Partnership that we've done with the other local mayors, because when rents in outlying Pierce County are rivaling those of Capitol Hill and Seattle, and when the Spanaway is the hottest rental market in the nation, we've got a housing problem that we've got to step up to. The second one is another regional issue that we have been leading on and have to continue to lead on, and that is behavioral health resources, access to services and resources. It has been a challenge before COVID, and COVID's made it worse. There's no question that when you think about people are suffering from depression more than ever, all those students, I know having talked to educators, real concerns, and counselors, real concerns about the impact on our children's mental health. So this is an issue that has been a challenge, and we've got to double down and do more work on them. Proud of the work that we have done in terms of our mobile community intervention response teams, the Tacoma veterans clinics, our co-responders for our law enforcement, the new well-found behavioral health hospital, and soon we're going to be opening a new crisis recovery center in the Parkland-Spanaway area. And I'm proud of the fact that the county has just approved the 0.1% for mental health in a way that will focus on prevention and early intervention as well as crisis response, and that we're going to continue to build on that to try to get some real structural reforms in how our services are delivered here in Pierce County. And the third challenge that we have to lean in on that is critically important is criminal justice reform. Obviously, the Emanuel Ellis' tragic death and the murder of George Floyd have caused us to re-examine a lot of different things. I'm pleased that we took some initial steps here in Pierce County. There's a lot of good work done before those incidents happened that I think laid a strong foundation. We've done some good work since then. Particularly, I'm proud of the initial criminal justice review of our policies and procedures. And from that, Pierce County has already funded and has on order dash cams and body cams. I think allowing everybody to know that's an important accountability mechanism. It's an important tool that I think will make our officers safer and our community safer to know. And it will bring, hopefully, closure to families who are really struggling with that. We've got other reforms that we're doing. I'm excited that we've got some real focus on data. We saw in that look at our criminal justice, we saw that Black and African Americans are arrested at a disproportionate rate in every jurisdiction in Pierce County. And that's not okay. That's not our Pierce County. So we've got to dig into that. We've got to address that issue. And that's why we brought some specific data analysts to be able to dig down and understand that so we can look at the policies that are necessary to address that. So we got a lot of work ahead of us, but we have to stare truth in the face in light of that criminal justice reform. So I look forward to working with law enforcement agencies, elected officials, and the community throughout Pierce County to address that. So with that, those are my three immediate goals and my three things we need to lean in on and challenge. And I look forward to more questions, Stephanie, and to being on the panel with Carla and Mayor Woodards.
Thanks, Bruce. Let's address the politics first. You have a very different council now, right? What do you anticipate will change for you, and should residents expect major differences?
So I think, so first of all, when I was down in the legislature, I was in the minority when I was in the House of Representatives and the majority when I was in the Senate. So I've been in both sides. I've worked on both sides, and I've found ways. You got to find ways to get stuff done. And I think we're going to do that. I have full confidence that the council, even though it's got a different chair Derek Young, we're going to find ways to work and get the important work done for the people of Pierce County. That's what they expect, right? At election day, the people decide who they want to work together to address their issues. And that's what happened last November. They reelected me and they flipped control of the council. That's good. We'll work it out. We'll find ways to make sure we're doing the important work for the people of Pierce County. That's what they expect.
You hinted at this earlier. Difficult year 2020 was for the local business community specifically. What can we do to help?
So I'm really proud of the fact that our economic development team, as we've talked about before, Pierce County was given $158 million in federal money called the CARES Act funding to use to support our community throughout the 2020 period to fight the pandemic and help our community get through it. I could talk to you for hours about how we did that. There's many things that were important, but one of those in particular, our economic development team did a really good job of supporting, trying to help our business community. They provided PPE, they provided adaptation grants, they provided rental assistance. They had the restaurant rally, if you remember that. So we've done a lot of things to try to make sure that our small businesses in particular can weather this time. And that money has expired. I'm hopeful that there might be some more money coming soon, but that's the key. We've got to help get our these businesses to hang on, so they're there to hire our people back, and we can get back to work. But ultimately, I think Pierce County is a great place for people to do business, and we've got a great workforce. And I want more and better jobs in Pierce County. And I think we're starting to see that show up. As I indicated, we've got new Navy contracts for coming down into the Port of Tacoma. We got Amazon and Tesla. We've seen a lot of expansion out in Frederickson and other businesses expanding. People recognize that this is a great place to do business and a great place to locate a business, because we've got a great community and great people who want to work for them.
You mentioned the CARES Act funds. Were we successful in deploying all of those funds, and was any of it returned?
No, absolutely none of it was returned. We were successful in getting all of it done. It was a real opportunity and a real challenge, and one that I knew my team had to deliver for the people of Pierce County. I can tell you the work done by Jody Ferguson and her emergency management team, working particularly with Dr. Chen and the Tacoma Pierce County Health Department, great work. As I mentioned, the work of Betty Capistani in economic development, helping our business community, outstanding work. And Heather Moss and her team down in our human services department, where they were helping our community with things like childcare, food insecurity, rental assistance, veteran support, all those kind of things. They had to operate outside their normal world, but they delivered. We got all that money spent, I believe, very effectively on behalf of our community, and we had to be very flexible, and they got it all done pretty much by the end of the year. We actually overshot by about $2,000, and we were, about $2 million, and we were able to get FEMA to cover that.
Great. Well, we'll move on. Thank you, Executive Danmeyer, for that conversation. We'll bring back now Mayor Woodards and Superintendent Santorno for the community-wide conversation and reader questions as well. Okay, all right, we're back here together. First off, a couple questions from earlier that I didn't quite get to, but relate to both of you. After several attempts, Pierce County Council voted in favor, like you said, Executive Danmeyer, of the behavioral health tax. As that vision becomes clearer, are there specific ways that the city and county can work together on this? And Mayor Woodards, I'll let you get started, and then Danmeyer will ask you to jump in.
Well, I would say, are there ways that we can? I want to already tell you that there are ways that we do work together. So we are so grateful that Pierce County finally passed the mental health sales tax. We passed it some years ago, and it's netting somewhere between $5 and $7 million a year for us to provide mental health services. But I think what's important and what we know in working together is that if we can work together well, and we do, that we can leverage that money to provide even greater services throughout Pierce County. So the Well-Found Mental Health Hospital is a perfect example of what a community partnership looks like. It was both the county and the city and several businesses and community members and community organizations that got that built. But we still know we have a long ways to go. As we talk about dealing with homeless, it's important to understand that some of the issues that plague our homeless community are mental health, and so we need more support, and grateful to work with the county to provide it.
Executive
So
Danmeyer?
I would say, thank you. It's great to work. Always great to work with Victoria. Washington State has under-resourced behavioral health for a long time, and we had this weird schism where they take care of your physical body, but not your mental challenges or mental health as well. And one of the things that we've been really focusing on here in Pierce County is to do everything we can to integrate physical health and mental health. To have it never made sense to have it separate. So we've been really working hard to do that. We're continuing to do that, to look for innovative ways to make sure that we can leverage money as effectively as possible to get more services out there to our community. Certainly, we are a great partner with Tacoma. we're going to be focusing preliminarily on our local monies on early intervention, prevention, and then crisis response, things that are really, really critical. But we hope that that integration effort will really be key to make sure that once somebody who's in a crisis becomes stable, we got to have the services and support to keep them stable. That's the key, to break that cycle of people going in and out. So, one of the things that we're going to be funding is, as I indicated, our new crisis response center out there in the Parkland-Spanaway area. That's an area that really has a lot of challenges in this area, has the need for services. So we're going where they're needed.
Thank you both for those answers. In 2021, as we know, is sort of the vaccine, right? We can't reopen completely until we're there. Let's talk about distribution a little bit. Superintendent Santorno, it'll be a very important piece, right, of getting all of our kids back in school and making sure that we do it safely for our support staff and our teachers. How do we get all of them vaccinated, and what steps are we taking to get there?
So I think what's important is that it's like anything else, we've got to work in partnership. Certainly, Tacoma Public Schools is reaching out to entities, pharmacies, organizations, and trying to make some arrangements so that if they get vaccines, that we can make sure that our teachers get vaccinated as soon as possible. Right along with that, we can make a reciprocal offer. We've got high schools that we can use to help distribute some of those vaccines. We're excited that our teachers, our K-12 teachers that are working with students, have been elevated into a 1B status, and that's going to help us get vaccines sooner too. So, we continue to lobby and to advocate and to work on behalf of our teachers because we want them to have the opportunity to get vaccinated as soon as possible.
Executive Mayor, do you want to jump in on this too?
I'll go first, but quick. Late breaking news. I just got word that Amazon is announcing that they're going to open 2 new facilities in Pierce County, one in Frederickson and one in Lakewood. See, I told you, more good news coming. On the vaccine front, the key thing here, right? The people of Pierce County want us to make sure that we are absolutely prepared to do the best we possibly can for them. So in my mind, we've got to make sure that all of our mechanisms of getting people vaccinated are developed and strong and out there. I want to make sure that whatever vaccines we can possibly get into this county, that we can get them into the arms of the people of Pierce County so they can be protected. So we're going to always be constrained by the supply of vaccines coming in, but I want to make sure we have excess capacity to do that. That's why right now you're seeing a lot of focus on our mass vaccination clinics. That's that's not the only one, but that's one of the strategies that's done for high efficiency, high numbers, and very visible. We've done, I think, 5 so far. As I indicated, I was just out at the Puyallup Fairgrounds at the Blue Lot, where we're doing 3,000, and we're hoping, Madam Mayor, to get 6,000 done at the Tacoma Dome next week. We'll see. Hopefully we'll get that many doses from the state. But that's the key. We've got to make sure that we get as many doses as we possibly can and get them as quickly into the arms of the people of Pierce County, protecting them.
I'll just take just a quick look. I think what the executive said is really important to understand is we are preparing for the time. In addition to providing vaccinations to those we can with the number of vaccinations we get, we are really working hard to be prepared so that when the floodgates open, and I'm going to just have hope that they do, that we are prepared to get those vaccines in the arms of our community as quickly as possible. So whether it's the Tacoma Dome or the Puny Stadium parking lot, we're working very closely with the county and the health department.
Great, thank you.
And Stephanie, I would kind of jump in to put that into perspective, right? About 2 weeks ago, we were doing about 1,000 vaccinations a day in Pierce County. Today, we're doing about 3,000 vaccinations per day. My goal is to triple it again and get to the point where we're doing 9 or 10,000 vaccinations a day. That's what we want to be ready to do.
Thank you. Let's talk a little bit about SHAPE that both of you mentioned earlier. Mayor, I'll let you go first, but after the mayor and executive superintendent, I would be interested in your thoughts about how we support our homeless students as well. Mayor?
Sure. So it's probably been a couple of years now that we formed SHAPE, and it was myself and Executive Danmeyer and then Councilmember Ladenburg, and we knew that housing affordability is not just an issue in Tacoma, but it's an issue in our region. And it made sense for us to come together as a region. So we called a meeting with all of the mayors in Pierce County in the city of Puyallup and began this conversation. And just yesterday, we had a meeting where we're formalizing our MOU to stand up SHAPE in Pierce County. There are several other regional organizations like this. There's ARCH, there's STIP in South King County that are working together to look at affordable housing and defining what affordable housing means for each community. It's not the same in Tacoma as it is in DuPont, but what happens in Tacoma does affect Lakewood. So it really is all of us coming together, and it's us focusing on policy, both at our local level, at the county level, and then working at the state level for policy that works for all of us. It's also looking at potentially where can we find dollars that we could actually invest in projects. So it's not just a policy group. It's a group that's really actually looking at funding. How can we actually produce affordable housing in our community? So it's been it's been a lot of hard work, but it's great to have this group of mayors together. We're talking about an issue that affects all of our communities.
Yeah, and I would just build on that a little bit because she left me a few things to say. It was interesting when we brought those mayors together and we asked them, what are your concerns? What is affordable housing? What are your concerns in your community? And everybody had a concern, right? Including all of them mentioned senior housing in particular. So that's one of the issues. So this is not, if people think this is a government subsidized project, that's not what we're talking about. It may include some government subsidized housing, supported housing, but it's broader than that. We want housing for seniors. We want housing for a single mom and with her family. We want housing for people who are a new couple who need a starter home, which you can't afford a starter home today. So we need a lot of different types of housing. I always say we need more and more types of housing. So it's not just the typical single family home on a relatively large lot. We need some cottages. We need some auxiliary dwelling units. We need a whole variety of different types of housing, primarily focused at kind of the 100% of the average median income and lower, that we can provide housing options for them. And we need a lot of it. So it's a huge challenge. It's a challenge certainly throughout Pierce County and throughout the region. Obviously King County, obviously Snohomish County as well. But I'm really excited about the work that our mayors have done, where we've come together and kind of are united around addressing this issue throughout our community.
Thank you. And Superintendent Santorno, I know we're talking about affordable housing, but a piece of that, right, is the students that are homeless in our community and how we are supporting them, especially right now.
Absolutely. One, I want to make sure that I talk about our great relationship with the Tacoma Housing Authority. Michael Mira at the Housing Authority has stepped forward, and we have this incredible partnership that has allowed our students to get vouchers that really help with the housing. So that has been a huge contribution. That being said, we still have McKinney-Vento students that that need extra help, and we've had lots of partners. The foundation that's helped to get them internet. We also, Metro Parks has been a great partner. They have used their centers that of course aren't being used now as gyms, where we can have students come in and get stable internet and work with their teachers. So, and we have family liaisons that have delivered supplies and delivered lunch and made sure that they knew what the needs are of our families. And I have to shout out to Amanda Scott Thomas, one of our partnership folks too, that has made sure that those kids aren't nameless in Tacoma Public Schools. We know their names, we know where they're staying, and we are really working to help them in any way that we can.
Thank you. Mayor, this question is for you and Executive Dammeier. It's from reader Carrie. She submitted this one. She says, how are you working to combat racism in our law enforcement agencies? Can you please list tangible steps you will be taking to improve those relationships? Mayor, do you want to go first?
Sure. So we're doing it in several ways. I talked earlier about Heal the Heart, which is our a group that's sitting outside of City Hall, outside of city government, and it's made up of community members. One of the first teams that they're going to send, one of the first transformation teams they're going to stand up is around policing, and so they're doing that piece of work. The other tangible things that we're doing, and I think I already mentioned some of them. We've done a Can't Wait. This report just came out, and I believe there are 63 recommendations in that report that we're going to be looking at and trying to implement. We also have our Community Police Advisory Council that is leading out on looking at policies and the way that we do business in our police department. So there are a lot of things happening all at the same time. And I suspect as it's taken us a little while to get everything up and running, but it will begin to go quickly as we've got all of these recommendations at the same time. The other thing I will acknowledge that I think is really important is that our police union, Local 6, came out in support of transformation. So we're working with them and not against them. And I think that's really important. If you want to transform an agency, you've got to have people who are part of the agency to be part of the conversation. We can't do it to them, we have to do it with them. And we're grateful for that. I would also say that things we've done is we've rolled out body cams. We're scheduled to be out by the end of March, all of them out by the end of March. There are 100 out on the streets now. We've asked our city manager and our interim police chief to speed that up. And as of Tuesday, we think we can get all of the training and get all the cameras rolled out by the end of February. So there are lots of things happening at the same time. But obviously, this is an issue that our community brought forward and have been really vocal at, and it's something that we're going to address.
Thank you. Executive.
Thank you, Stephanie. So I would follow up with a couple quick things. First of all, hiring and recruiting of our officers and training of our deputies, right? We want to make sure that our deputies, that they're a diverse workforce that reflects our community. That's an important step. We've made a lot of progress on that, and that they're being effectively trained, not only in use of force, but in community policing, in dealing with people who are in a mental health crisis. Those are some of the particular challenges, right? Making sure they're getting that training. We've reviewed our use of force policies the sheriff has, and to make sure that we're kind of in compliance with the concerns that have been raised. We also have funded and are kind of awaiting for our dash and body cams. Again, I think that's an important reform. I'm very excited that Tacoma is doing it. I hope that the state will take action. We really need it for all law enforcement throughout the state of Washington. And my focus will be all law enforcement in Pierce County. So we would like to get the other agencies on board as well. And then we are going to continue to, we also, as I mentioned before, looking at the data, we've got to do deep dives into data to really look for and confront those policies that can have really disproportionate impacts on certain populations. Like I indicated, our stats indicate that Black or African Americans are arrested at a disproportionate rate in every jurisdiction. Then we're also looking at making sure we've got the supports there for our law enforcement and for our community, specifically when they deal with people in a mental health crisis. We've got now co-responders that are available 24/7, 365 days a year, kind of to support all the law enforcement agencies throughout the community, throughout the county. We've got kind of our mobile community intervention response teams that proactively go out and try to head off and deal with folks who are in a mental health crisis. And we also want to make sure that our if our law enforcement or fire service, come across someone who's in a mental health crisis, that we can get that person to the care they need not to the jail or the hospital if that's not where they should go, right? We want to get them to the care to help them stabilize, which is why the Crisis Recovery Center is so important. That new one, we have one in Fife, the new one in Parkland Spanaway, is all about giving a place where our law enforcement and our fire service can roll up and take someone who's a crisis, hand them over to people who are specifically trained and equipped and have the facility to take them in, give them the care, stabilize them, and help them get to a plan beyond that. So part of this is about doing, we have a little tendency to ask our deputies and the law enforcement throughout Pierce County to do everything for everybody. And we need to recognize that they are highly skilled, highly trained, and they do a lot of things exceptionally well, but they have a very difficult job. And we've got to make sure that wherever possible, we're providing support that frees them up to not be necessarily the only responder to any problem that somebody has.
Thank you. I have one more question that we'll start with the superintendent, mayor, and then let Executive Danmeyer wrap up for us before we're done for the day. But it's one that I've heard often since I moved here. From reader Daniel Person says, how can we keep a strong sense of identity and avoid becoming a bedroom community for Seattle? Superintendent?
I think we need to stay embedded in excellence, and we have so many innovations and different things in Tacoma that nobody else touches. And we are an incredible, moving, growing city, and we need to stay rooted in all of those innovations and be willing to move forward. Best people, best partners, best community. We'll keep that up.
Mayor? I would say, first of all, we have to already believe that we are the best community, and we are. Tacoma, by far, when people come here, go, oh my God, I didn't know Tacoma was so great. We are the best kept secret. And I think we've got to believe in ourselves. But then the other thing I think we've got to remind ourselves is that as Superintendent Santorno said, we are innovative, we are smart, we have a lot to offer. We have the best park system in the country. We have the best employers. We have an infrastructure and an opportunity and a quality of life. I mean, that's what's so great about Tacoma. People who work in Seattle, especially during the pandemic, and in other places, are now moving to Tacoma and Pierce County because we have a great quality of life. So I say we keep being who we are. And we're going to continue to shine through. People always ask what makes Tacoma so great. And they say, well, is it the fact you can see Mount Rainier or the beautiful waterfronts or the distinct neighborhoods that make up Tacoma? Is it the business community? Is it our nonprofit community? And I always tell people what makes Tacoma the great city that it is. It's not the museums, it's not the colleges, although they all are part of it. It's the people who choose to call this place home. And I think if we continue to be who we are and stay true to ourselves, Tacoma will always outshine any other place in the country. I call Tacoma the best city in the universe, and I believe it.
Thank you, Mayor. Executive?
Mayor Woodards is one of the most amazing cheerleaders I know. Woo! I'm right with her. I talk about we want Pierce County to be a place where people choose to live, work, and raise a family. Those are all important issues. One is the people have a choice, right? We want people to make a choice to be part of this community. The live is easy because right now we got a lot of people choosing to live here. We got to make sure it remains livable. And the raise a family is good because that implies, whether you're raising a family or not, that implies good parks, strong schools, excellent recreation, a clean environment, right? The big challenge right now is work. We need an opportunity for more and better jobs in Pierce County so people can have that job, that what I call a family wage job, or really a family wage career, one that they can do that kind of job after job where they can grow, that will enable them to buy a house and raise their family or live the life here that they want to take advantage of it. So one of my primary focuses right now is we need more and better jobs available to the people of Pierce County.
Thank you. Thank you all for your time and willingness to answer these questions here today. I appreciate it. And thank you to our viewers for watching. That's it from us. Have a great day.